Producing great ads is one of the hardest things when you're running an ad account in 2026 because of Meta's new algorithm. They're really prioritizing creative diversity, and one of the easiest ways to create diversity in your account is having a wide range of static ads. So in this video, I'm going to take you through 40 static ads that you can create to have diversity in your account. Whenever you're testing ads, you want to create multiple variations, put them in a testing campaign, test them in batches, and then take the winners from each batch and put them into a super campaign, which will all run together. And that will make sure that you're running your best performing ads, the strongest angles, the strongest messaging with a good amount of creative diversity. So let's get into these ads. The first category that we're going to look at is social proof. So here we've got a reverse review or a pattern interrupt. Here we've taken a negative review and put it into the ad. Obviously this is super engaging. It makes it very clear exactly what your product is about. Has a bit of comedy that creates a lot of engagement. And there's so many variations of this that you could do with different messages, different angles, different products. So definitely something you'd want to consider testing in your account. Next, we've got a lifestyle photo with a social comment overlay. So it's really important that you have a diverse range of backgrounds and things that you're using in your creative. So lifestyle photography is something that not enough brands are using. And then you have the ability to have a social comment on top, again, which can be tested with a variety of different messages and angles. One thing that's really beneficial with these types of creatives is sending the traffic to a landing page. That way the ad creates curiosity, but the landing page educates customers in a much deeper way. Now we've got a native social post style with the before and after. Now we've scaled accounts with before and afters just using that creative type to 1 million plus per month in the past, but it's not that easy now because the algorithm really demands diverse concepts. So this is one of the key concepts that you want to be having, especially if you've got a product where it's really easy to show a transformation. If you can build a system to collect customer reviews and especially have photos which actually show that before and after transformation, you're going to have a really strong asset type. Now we've got a simple classic typography-led authority ad. You might have a quote like this example as well. Really simple. Try to make your message as engaging as possible and really hit the customer psychology. A really good way to do this is to mine your customer reviews and see what their language actually sounds like and then produce a variety of different statics. Now we're going to go into the before and after category. So here we have a metaphorical before and after. Again, this is a bit of comedy. It can be super engaging and it can really help to get your point across without needing to actually have before and after photos to show a transformation. Now we've got a before and after with a photo style, lifestyle photo in the form of an IG story with a social comment. So again, super engaging, a really easy way to show a customer's transformation. Now with your static ads, if you can get the customer to really resonate and see themselves going through a transformation, then it's going to really increase your conversion rate, and this is the perfect type of ad to do that with. Now we've got the close-up before and after. This is really effective, especially for beauty brands that are in this space. Obviously, you're going to need a lot of credibility in your business, and this is the perfect way to do it, especially if they click this ad and then they go to a product page or a landing page with thousands of more reviews and more before and afters. They're pretty much going to be convinced, and this could be the only ad that you need in the account. Now we're going to look at some native and disguised style creatives. So you've got a really trending example here, the iPhone Notes app ad, and you can really write anything in the iPhone Note. We've done this with founder stories where the founder is sharing a note with their customers, or in this example here, we've got a special offer that's being promoted. Just a really good way to get people to stop in their feed and again, create that diversity in your account. We've got the Reddit thread example. Obviously people really trust Reddit. And so if you have actual Reddit threads that have been created, that's perfect. If you don't, you can also mock these up to create that similar kind of effect. And instantly when people see this kind of thread, it builds credibility and it builds trust. Next, we've got the handwritten sticky note. This works exceptionally well. It just feels really natural. It feels really authentic. It makes the person feel like your brand is real. You can use this to communicate messaging, show different bundles, or in the example here, promote an offer. It's a creative type that you should be running for every single promotion that you do. Now we've got a press/editorial ad. In this case, we've done it specifically as a comparison, but you don't really have to do that. If you have press articles that have been written about your business, it builds a lot of credibility when you include these in your ad creative. These work especially well if you have advertorial style landing pages created or a really strong product page that really educates customers. So this is a really good kind of warm audience, middle of funnel ad creative. You've got the push notification app card here. So similar to the Apple Note or the Reddit thread, just another way of creating diversity and communicating a message that you want to get across. Now we're going to go into the product plus benefit style creative. So this is more traditional creative, and it's kind of what you think of when you think about graphics ads. In this one, we've got a product plus benefits list. So a really simple way to showcase your product, highlight the different benefits that it has, and also include a strong headline and message to call out to the audience. This is probably one of the key creatives that you want to be having in your account across your entire product range. When you're thinking about the headline, you want to think about what your customers' motivations are. There's a lot of talk about trying to figure out what your customer's persona is, what their demographic is, but that doesn't really matter as much as what their motivation is. So you might have a persona that's like a gym goer, but you can't really create an ad just for a gym goer. But you could create an ad for someone that goes to the gym and hates the taste of protein powder. So that's the motivation, and that's the kind of research that you want to do into your customer when you're creating this type of ad. Here we've got a very simple bold claim and trust ad. So obviously if you've got anything like a money back guarantee, you want to try to use that in your ad, and it's going to be a really strong warm audience creative. To do this really well, you want to understand what's holding your customers back. So in this example, we're literally offering people a money back guarantee. So really they have nothing to lose by purchasing the product, but it doesn't have to be a guarantee. If you know what's stopping your customers from purchasing, you can really leverage that in your ad creative. Here we've got an ingredient transparency ad. So this is a more science-focused angle. It works especially well if your customers really know your ingredients and they know the type of things that they want in the product. So we've seen this in skincare, people mentioning vitamin C or niacinamide or retinol, that kind of ingredients that people really understand, or just to build credibility and show people that scientifically you've really created a strong and innovative product. If you don't have ad creative like this, then another place to put it is your product page. And that's obviously going to be really important because people now really want to understand what's behind the product, and they've become a lot more doubtful of just seeing ads and purchasing a product. Like, people really want to know that this is going to work and they want to understand the science behind it. So whether it's ad creative or product page, having ingredients being called out is quite important. So here we've got product in hand plus a static bar. So again, this is like that science angle, but this is more showing research that might have been done or calling out specific things that your customer cares about. So in this example, you've got high protein, zero sugar. Like, these are things that the customer understands, and then they've combined it with a discount as well. So a really strong creative that hits various angles and messages, but does it in a really clear and concise way. And then you can see the message here is really calling out a very specific audience. Now we're going to move into some comparison style creatives. So first we've got the classic us versus them comparison ad, and you've probably seen this type of ad if you scroll through Instagram. But this is a really good concept to have in the account because it immediately makes it easy for the customer to understand exactly what your product is, because by referencing something that they already understand. We've seen examples of this work really well, especially when you compare something like coffee with a certain energy supplement. And a lot of early e-commerce brands were built with this type of creative because they were known as disruptors. So if you feel like you're a disruptor in a certain category, then this is a creative that you really need to have in the account. Here we have a really strong example for an assumption busting or a myth flip ad. We're actually asking the user a question. So that's obviously super engaging. But then at the same time, we're introducing our product, and we're questioning that belief that they had. So this is like really strong pattern interruption. So if you understand your customer's language and the type of questions that they didn't realize could be answered by your product, you definitely want to be incorporating that into your ad creative, and this is a good style to do that with. Now we're going to be looking at some more direct promo style creatives. So you've got the simple, clean studio promo ad. This is like a classic if you're going to be doing a promotion. Big discount call out, make it really strong, hard to miss, and then the product, ideally your best-selling product. Here we've got another variation where there's a spokesperson or there's actually someone in the ad creative itself. If your product has servings, then a price anchoring ad can work really well. Your product might seem expensive, but if you break it down into the number of servings or the cost per day, it can make the price a lot more digestible and counter that price objection that people might have. So here we've got a combination of the benefit being called out in the message plus an actual offer being presented as well. Now we're going to have a look at some storytelling static ads. So this is a very simple day in the life grid. If your product has a routine or a step-by-step process incorporated into it, this can work really well. Or if you're able to tell a story over a certain number of months or days, for example, it can show that transformation as well. Here we've got examples of illustrated emotional concepts. So with AI, it's really easy to generate these illustrated concepts, but it can really help to get the message across, especially if you've got some complicated messages that you might not be sure how to use in a real photograph or get a lifestyle content from. Sometimes it's easier to use an illustrated concept to communicate that. Here we've got a commitment challenge ad. So this is really strong because it pushes a higher lifetime value. If the initial ad is encouraging people to use the product more frequently, they're going to get a better outcome from it, and then hence they're likely to come back. So you're very clearly setting expectations. So even if this ad, for example, has a high cost per acquisition, it might have a really strong lifetime value. So if you can get this right, it could be a really strong concept to have in the account. Previously, Meta used to be against having long form ads in the account, and you could only have a certain amount of text in the static. Otherwise, it would actually limit the reach that your ad gets. But now long form content is back, so you can actually have as much text as you want. So that's why we've got this long form example here. If you can hook the right people with the right message, then they're likely to read all of that content. So don't be afraid to say a lot more in your ads. This could be in the form of an offer like this example, or it could be like a really strong quote, review, or testimonial. Now we're going to have a look at some range or discovery style creatives. So here you've got a bundle contents catalog grid, just a really easy way to show bundles that you've got on your website. Again, this is likely going to have a higher average order value, and you can use it to direct people to specific bundle product pages. It's even better if you connect this to a landing page, which takes people through each product and what they actually get and the benefits of each product, and also highlights how the routine works together so that there's no questions about why these products are bundled in that way. Then you've got the lifestyle version of that, which is basically an influencer or a creator or a real person with a bundle reveal. And then this example also has call outs with arrows. Again, just building that credibility. And it's even better if you can actually show real customers in these photos. Oftentimes it's easy for people to tell what a real customer looks like versus what a creator looks like. So sometimes it's nice to just have that more authentic look to build that credibility. And obviously when we compare this back to the catalog grid ad, it's a very different looking concept. So that's why it's important. You want to be thinking about the composition of your ads to actually create that diversity. Here you've got a full photo of a creator, and here you've got a more kind of edited graphic style ads. So these are going to be really different, and they're going to target a very different type of audience to one another. Now you've got the product range selector / quiz style ad. So if you've got multiple products in your product range, or if you've got different variants and you're finding that people are gearing towards a certain one, this is a really good way to introduce and show them that you actually have other products or complementary products or variants available, and increase sales for some of those other ones that might not be getting so much love. It works especially well with people that already know your product and they like the main variant, to introduce them to the other variants that you have. Plus, people that might have seen a winning ad for a specific type of product that you have, and while that specific product, like your bestseller, might not resonate with them, if you show them that you have other products and they were convinced by that original ad, but the product didn't seem relevant, by showing them you have other products, it actually could get them to purchase if they've been on the fence because they're not sure if that original product was right. So for example, in this creative, I might not want a collagen mask, and that might be the bestseller that you have, but now you've showed me that you've got a caviar mask as well, and maybe that's the one that I'm more inclined to go for. So again, a really good warm audience / middle of funnel creative. All right, so that's it for some static ad concepts. I hope that gave you a few ideas and some inspiration to create some more creatives with a lot of diversity in your ad account. In part 2, I'm going to be going through video creatives. And of course, if you need help producing creatives like this for your brand, we've helped several brands scale from 100K to $1 million+ per month. So feel free to reach out in the link below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.